I made just under 8% on one stock in just under 1 month. You have to be excited about that. Hello, my friends. It's Legend. Hey, it's the weekend, so it's time to do another update on my YouTube stock tracker sheet. Just give a little break to the yield max, what I'm usually talking about, but I'm still doing my swing trades for the YouTube stock tracker sheet, and I'm doing updates weekly on those. So let's just kind of go through that real quick. Did hit one of them at just under 8%. Got 7.75% in just under 1 month on the capital that I had invested on that stock. So we'll go and we'll see what that one is and which ones I've been stopped out of, how much I'm up on each one, and where I'm setting on the other ones. And we'll also look at the graph and see what triggered those stops. And for the ones that I have got in new to this week, we'll see where I'm at and what I'm looking for and what those stops are, if there are any stops set yet on those. So let's first talk about the ones that I did get stopped out on and see where I'm at on making a profit on those. And then we'll add the new stops and the ones that we've added to the portfolio this week. So on LLY, I have 16 shares at 812.09. I had a stop at 816. It did come down after hours, and when it opened, it was down below that, and it fell pretty fast. It ended up actually kicking me out at 813.34 with that slip. It was a huge drop, and it just kept on falling fast that Monday. And once it goes and triggers my stop, it goes to market price, and then it's just open to the market. Well, if the price is still dropping, you can get a pretty good slip on it. And for that one, it did that day. So again, I had my stop at 816. It actually triggered me at 813.34. So for this one, I only made $19.60, as you can see out here. That is a 0.15% earning on my invested money there. So not a big win there, but you can't predict what's going to happen in the market. It was up, in the 820s and stuff like that. So I had no problem setting that 816. But again, when the market drops hard and fast like that, the stop is there to try to minimize that, but you do have the slippage that you have to deal with. AVGO. 24 shares at 165.70. Had a stop at 171.04. This one came down and it triggered that stop. It kicked me out and I got a 171.07, which gave me $128.83. And that gave me a total of my capital invested in that one was 3.24% on that one. And I was in it for 27 days. Lily, I was in for 49 days. Again, I would have had a whole lot better on Lily, but that huge drop, that one hurt. I shed a tear a little bit on that one, but that's okay. Still up. So on AVGO, I did make 3.24% in 27 days. TSM. 17 shares at 182.37. I had a stop at 196.59. One did trigger me out on the 10th as well at 196.58. Came down, triggered it, kicked me out. That gave me a total there of 241.44 profit. So very nice profit on that one. That actually ended up being 7.79% on my money. Love it. In just 27 days. Love that. That's less than a month to get almost 8%. 7.75%. That's great for 1 month. I'll take that for sure. That's good money. VOO, 4 shares, 540.20. Had a stop set at 554.56. And that one kicked me out at 554.55. A lot of fives. We had a profit of $57.34. So that was a 2.65% on my money in just 25 days. That's good money. NVDA. Oh, this one here did come down and kicked me out. I was a little sad on that one. 18 shares at 135.56. I had a stop set at 139.51. It kicked me out at 137.87 is what it ended up selling them at. So therefore I made about $41.44 on that one, which is about 1.7% on my money in 21 days. That was another one that just kind of dropped out a little bit on that earlier this week. Was a rough time in the market as things started falling pretty fast, and it triggered a lot of stops in everybody's portfolio. So that just happens, but again, that just keeps you in check, and it helps to keep the market in check, right? So if it's falling and it's falling hard, you want to be able to get stopped out to hopefully, if you're seeing it, you can get back in at a lower price. Take your wins and get back in after it's finished dropping. That's kind of the idea. That's the thought behind all of this. Now, these other ones here, I'm only going to call out the ones that I have a stop set at right now. Some of them are new stops. I've moved it up, and some are existing. And then we'll look at the chart and kind of see where everything's setting on those. AMZN, I have 9 shares at 199. I have a stop set at 223.37. ABBV, no change there, no stop. I have purchased more shares of these, but I'm not going to go through each one of those if I don't have a stop on that. AFL, I got 14 shares, no stop. PRU, 18 shares, no stop. V, which is Visa, I have 2 shares at 309. I've got a stop set at 311.94 to capture those gains. PGR, I've got 19 shares, no stop. SCHD, I have 72 shares, no stop. That one did pay a dividend earlier. I did not have a full 72 shares at that time. I had to look more along the lines of about 30 to 36 shares that'll get paid the dividend. But I'm up to 72 shares now with that average of 28.51. So I'm just down a little bit on that one. Not too worried with that one. That one's down. So I'm buying in and dollar cost averaging into that one. TSM, I did get back in after I got kicked out up here at the top. I got back in, and I got back in that same evening that I got kicked out of. So I got kicked out probably that morning, and I was back in it by that evening. I have 2 shares at 192 even. With the current price of $200, I have a stop set at 195.26. So I've already put my stop above my cost, so I am locked in for a win on that one. So that's kind of the layout of all of these here. So let's just jump over to the Webull chart. Just kind of go over where my stops are setting and my averages I've got into, and we can see the charts to get a better view of why I've got those stops set where I've got them setting. So here we are on LLY. For LLY, as you can see, I did get kicked out here at this purple line. My white line is my purchase average. So as it came down, it kicked me out, and this is the one that did slip some. So I didn't have much room here, as you can see, and I'll zoom in here so we can get a little bit better view of the candles. And as you can see, it did trigger here, and then it slipped all the way down here. So it was falling that morning, and I did get kicked out, still in profit, but not by much. But it looks like it did save me from riding those candles in the price all the way back down to about 789 is where we're setting now. Looks like it got as low as 772.99. Now, looks like on the 12th, it did drop below this RSI2 down here, and that is where I am buying at. If it drops below this 10 here on the RSI2, I'm purchasing at that point, that being a low point. And I just did not see it that day. You can't watch them all and you can't catch them all. But it looks like it did drop below it. And had I saw that and purchased it at, say, the close of 782.35, I would be currently up $7 on the share. But I didn't buy into it again because I didn't see it. So I missed this one, but that's okay. You can't get them all. There's so many out there to do. But I am in several good ones here. So let's move on to AVGO. Now AVGO is just an anomaly here. This was just crazy. The white line is my average buy. The purple is my stop price. And as you can see, as it was going up, I was riding this green line, which is what I do. I ride that green line, which is the moving average. It's a 5-day moving average. And I had moved it up to this point right here on that green line. And as it was trading and it was coming down a little bit here, I did not move it up to here. Okay, I did not move it up to the next part. I was sitting right here and waiting. And of course, then that day it came down and then it crossed that purple line, as you can see. It did cross that purple line right there. And that's what triggered me out. And as you can see, it didn't go down much before it turned right around and took back off, right? So it's just one of those things that just triggers you and kicks you out. And I did try to get back in, but could not get my order filled for the price that I wanted. And then that next day it just shot up, so I was just waiting for it to pull back a little bit. It did, but it did not get down below my 10 on the RSI2, so I was waiting for that. And then as you can see, the next day we had this crazy candle here on AVGO, and we went from that close here of 180.66 to an opened price at 213.90. Crazy. So kind of wish you were in that one. You know, I wish I was still in that one and didn't get kicked out by this right here. And again, that was that day in the market where everything was just kind of dropping early that morning and then recovered. But it is what it is. We take our wins and we take our losses, whichever one it is, and we move forward. So AVGO did kick me out. I did not get back in, and now it's at a crazy high. So if you're in AVGO or if you are in it long term, way to go. This one here is just rocking. TSM. On TSM, I've got a few extra lines here because I was trying to show what each one was. This one is my previous average of what I was in. Then I have my new entry average, which is that white line. So this one here is the one I was originally in, and then I got kicked out on this red line here. If you had stop set, a lot of them got hit. I know mine did, but luckily mine got hit in profit. But you never know, is it going to recover or is it just going to keep on dropping? So it's better to go ahead and put your protection in there rather than not having the protection and ride the thing all the way down. So I did get kicked out right there, and on TSM I did get back in, and as you saw it on my spreadsheet, I did get back in, and my average is this white line. So now I can get rid of this line and this line here just to take the confusion away. That was my old trade, and this is my new trade. So with the other ones removed, I now am just showing my current average, and this purple line here, that needs to be changed. So let's enter in our new stop, and that new stop will be at the MA5 being at 195.26. That is this green line, as since the candle is above it and it closed above it, I'm moving my stop to that MA5, 5-day moving average, and I'm putting it right here on that day. And as you can see, that is 195.26. So that's what I have my stop set at, current price being about $200.99, and that will keep me from taking any losses, hopefully, even to account for the slip. I have a little over $3 for any kind of huge movement in that one. I hope this one here continues to go on up and I can continue to move my stop on up. Here we are on VOO. For VOO, I did get stopped out of that one. That was my original price. That was my stop set right here at the MA5. And when it started trading sideways, I just left it sitting right there. I didn't move it. I was hoping that it was just going to consolidate and then take back off. And it still is consolidating, even though it did drop right here below my stop, and that's what triggered me out of VOO. So right now this one's just trading sideways, and for the RSI it is not below the 10 on the RSI2, so I'm not purchasing yet on this one either. NVDA, of course, this is the one that I did get kicked out of. I had that purple line is my stop, and this is where it did open, and it was opened down a little bit on the lower side here, kicked me out of NVIDIA. It has now since been trading sideways, and actually it is respecting this MA20 here. As you can see, it's not wanting to get above it. If we can get a break above that, it might continue to take off. But for me, for my buy time, I'm looking down here on the RSI, and I'm looking at the RSI2. And if it gets below this 10 on the RSI2, then I'll be purchasing back into NVIDIA. So if this thing gets down to maybe 133 or 132-ish, that should bring this here probably down below that 10. And I'll be purchasing back into NVIDIA in hopes to ride this one right back on up. So for Amazon, my current average is 199. I'm sitting down here at my cost, and I have been moving my stop right up this green line. And I'm currently sitting right here at this purple line, and that is at 223.37. It did start trading sideways here. So I am setting and seeing if it's going to consolidate and then hopefully continue on back up. But if it does consolidate and go down, it will kick me at 223.37-ish. So that's my protection right there, which is a nice gain from 199 to 223. I'll take that. ABBV. For ABBV, I do not have a stop on that one. My average sitting right here. And as you can see, the candles are consolidating, so we will see which way it's going to decide to head. If it continues to go up, or if it goes up, then I might be able to set my stop. Or if it goes down, then the RSI2 will probably drop below that 10, and I will be buying again, as I have been buying on these last couple of days right here. As you can see, it's below 10. I did buy into it at those points. AFL, it is below my cost being the 105.78. The RSI2 is creeping up. It is trading sideways, so we will see which way AFL will end up come next week. If it's going to go up, or are we going to go down, and I'll be buying some more of AFL. PRU. On PRU, my average being 122.71. We're sitting at 120.48. It is trading sideways again. There's a lot of that going on in the market, a lot of trading sideways, consolidating, and waiting for direction. And that's what I'm doing, waiting on direction. And once it gives me direction, then we can play it in that way. I have my average here at the 309, and I have my stop set at 311.94. Now I could move it up to this point right underneath the candle, and if I did that, of course, that would take it to 312.69. And there's not a problem in doing that, but I am trying to give them a little bit more breathing room rather than just riding the MA5 right underneath the existing candle, unless there has been a huge pop. So since it was a red day, it did come down. That's why I'm staying where I'm at, staying about a day behind it, to give it enough time that if it does come down a little bit, I don't want to be too close to that candle to where I might get stopped out and then it take off. So I'm already pretty close, but I don't want to move it even closer. So I'm giving it a little extra room to breathe. We'll see if it can turn around. And as you can see, the MACD looks like it is dying down here. The red, the sellers are getting a little exhausted, looks like, and we might can get a cross here. If we get this cross of the MACD to go back up, we might can get this price to go on back up, and we can continue then at that point to start moving this stop right up that green line on the MA5. PGR, I have my cost here, white line of 248.05. It did jump above it. Sometimes I like to put a stop just above my cost, but it is right there on my line. It is touching it. So I'm going to give this one a little extra grace and a little extra room to let it breathe. If I set my stop here at the MA5 currently, it would be 246.68. So I don't necessarily want to set a stop at a loss when this one here is not quite made its mind up which way it's going. It does look like it's going to want to go up. The MACD is showing that it is turning around or wants to turn around, and the RSI2 is turning up. So everything's kind of pointed as it's going to go up. So we will give it room to breathe just in case if it does come down, have a little flash crash like in the morning. I don't want that flash crash to drop, kick me out before it jumps, right? And jumps on up. So I'm giving it room to breathe, so I'm not setting a stop at this point. SCHD, my share price average is 28.42. It's got a little bit of a trend going down, looks like here. The MACD has not finished dropping. It looks like it might be bottoming out just ever so slightly. It did have the dividend here that did pay out, and that, like I said, I did get paid out some of that on a few of my shares that I originally had during the dividend, so I will get that dividend for those shares. That's free money. I'll take it. But right now it looks like the MACD is maybe bottoming out, but we'll see. The RSI2 here, it is just flat and bottomed out. I mean, this thing is just so oversold. And it has been oversold for quite a few days. Anytime your RSI is below 30, it's an oversold territory. If your RSI is above 70, it's an overbought territory. As you can see up here, we had a RSI2 of 94 and 96. And as you can see, that doesn't mean it has to come down, but it just means that there's a lot of buyers up, that's buying up there. So it's easy for them to get exhausted when they're at the top like that. And as you can see, we were at 86.80, and then we started dropping, right? Because this RSI2 was so high, and as it dropped, it reflects that price, and the MACD started turning as well. So then we had the cross right here on the MACD, and that cross was crossing down. So that's a bearish signal right there. So that means that price could be continually to come down, and it did. As you can see here, the price has been dropping. I've got the chart and the graph here stretched out. We're only talking from the point of crossing here of roughly about $29.08 to $28.13. So we're only talking about $1 here. But the graph here looks like it's just falling, but we're only talking about it actually moving about $1. So if we zoom out just to get a better idea of what this stock looks like, and this is what it looks like, right? So it's staying above this 200 MA, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for it to stay above that 200 MA on the year chart, which is a daily moving average. So as you can see, this price is dropping on down, and it is below my cost. So I am continually to buy so that I can keep bringing my costs down. But as long as we have this upward trend over the year, I feel a little bit more comfortable about buying in because I know and hope that this is going to turn around and continue to go on up as history has shown. Here's a 5-year, and as you can see, this 5-year, where it's sitting at about $16 there, and it's sitting at $28 now. So as you can see, it's just an upward, slow-moving ETF, and this one is an ETF, so it's not going to move dramatically. It's not like Bitcoin, or it's not like Mara or anything like that. It's going to move slow and steady. So this one here, a lot of times your ETFs are long-term plays. I am trying to swing this one a little bit, but if it continues to go up, I might set my stop, a little bit further away, just so that I can hold on to this one for a longer period of time. Not really looking to make a whole lot off of SCHD in short term. I would like to actually have this one maybe make money long term if I can hold on to this one longer. But I will eventually still set my stop, and if it does drop, it will sell out, and I will get kicked out to hopefully in profit. But if it did drop, I would prefer to be able to buy in when that price drops back down below where it kicked me out at, and I continually to hopefully stay in the green that way. So as you can see here, and just show you a year chart on AVGO. And AVGO, again, like I said, I'm looking for stocks that staying right above that 200 MA. And you can see this stock price and the graph just staying all nice and pretty right above it. And then, of course, we did have this huge drop. Now, one could say off of that huge jump up, you could also be filling the gap at some point and it fall back down. So not saying it will do that, but I'm just saying that that is always a possibility. But again, it could just continue on. But as you can see right here, it also did a jump up where it jumped from about 147 up to about 165, looks like. So there's a big gap right here that it went from one price and jumped up the next day to this price. It did continue to go up, but as you can see, it did come back down and start consolidating and then went on back down a little bit. So we could see that happen again here. Not saying it will and not saying it won't, but we could see a little bit more movement up, and then we might see it kind of cool down, because with that huge pop up, we are way overbought. The RSI2 is at 95, the RSI14 is at 79. So that one there could start trading sideways and then continue on up, or it could trade sideways a little bit, bump up and fall back down. Who knows? I don't have a crystal ball. So anyway, I think I've talked a little bit pretty much about on everything. Kind of tried to show what I'm using of when I get in, when I get out. I kind of peppered it throughout the video. So hopefully you stuck around here to hear what each one was, and kind of listen in on when I get in and what I'm setting my stops at and how do I determine those stops. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if so, please give it a like and also subscribe. It helps the channel out. It is much appreciated. And as always, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence before you get into any stock plays. And until next time, legend out.